Hello star seekers. This is Jeannie from Horoscope Forecasts 369. Whether you're an Aries or a Pisces, we're here to guide you. Let's cut through the cosmic noise and dive into today's horoscope predictions. Saturday, July 22nd, 2023. The astrology of today, all signs. Jupiter is semi-square Neptune today. This longer-term influence adds a thread of idealism to our lives. We're hopeful, but perhaps looking in the wrong places for inspiration. Unrealistic or inflated expectations can mislead us. People can lead us astray, too. We might gloss over essential and realistic details or suffer from some disorganization. This is the first of three perfections, with the other two occurring on November 5th, 2023, and March 3rd, 2024. The Sun enters Leo today, where it will transit until August 22nd. The Sun is proud, outgoing, and playful in its own sign. We want to enjoy and express ourselves during this cycle. The Leo Sun is intensely individual, not content with merely being one of the team. It's time to shine, perform, and add a touch of color and drama to our lives. We are generous and grand in our gestures and attitudes. On the shadow side, we can also be self-centered and vain under this influence. As well, Venus turns retrograde in the sign of Leo today and will remain retrograde until September 3rd, giving us a chance to look over and review our affections, relationships, and finances. We may question a current project or commitment during this cycle. Retrograde Venus affects us mainly in the areas of love and finances, but also extends to some areas of business and pleasurable pursuits. These matters are not straightforward during this period, and it's a time for reviewing our attitudes and attachments rather than forging ahead boldly into new love relationships or financial projects. Old friends and lovers may reappear, perhaps complicating current relationships, or we may be reminiscing about past conditions more often. There can be a call to deal with relationship issues from the past. Getting closer to a lover during this period can be a real challenge. Unorthodox, experimental, and non-intimate relationships may be in stronger favor. Some of the more negative associations of Venus in Leo may be particularly prominent and or hard to take, including egoism, buying affection, or haughtiness. It can be a time to re-evaluate our relationship needs. Still, major love decisions are best saved for after the cycle ends on September 3rd and, better yet, beyond the shadow phase, after October 7th. This retrograde can skew our perceptions, and we can come out of the cycle with regret if we've acted hastily, particularly with money, love, and pleasure, as the tendency to change our minds later is strong. Today's Aries horoscope. The Sun moves into your recreation sector today, dear Aries, but Venus turns retrograde in the same area of your solar chart. Venus rules values, love, and resources in a general sense, and partnerships and money for you, more specifically. Until September 3rd, you're in a period of review of any or all of these things as you reassess whether or not your needs are being met. You may turn to the past to better understand the present, but because you can sometimes feel a little stuck there, it's not the best time to push forward with new plans. During this 6-week retrograde cycle, you can review, reassess, and possibly experiment with your social and love life. Mysterious backward-looking energy is with you on a romantic level, and it can be a period of fateful events and encounters. Your powers of attraction are high, but your love life may be complex. Because this retrograde occurs in your sector of joy, romance, and pleasure, past loves may reappear in your life or become a focal point, and you could feel a little hung up emotionally. A current romantic interest may be difficult to read. Consider that it's all too easy to undervalue or overvalue someone or something during this cycle. You could find it hard to derive satisfaction from your romantic and creative activities temporarily, and it's best to watch for overcompensating. However, it's a good time to rethink pastimes, pleasure-seeking activities, and creative expression. Today's Taurus horoscope. With the sun moving into your home and family sector, dear Taurus, a more focused and relaxed pace becomes you. Indeed, you are often quite happy dealing with your domestic chores and surrounding yourself with familiar people and things during this cycle. Even so, there are times when you may feel under the radar or not fully understood by the rest of the world and could choose to work harder at finding peace with those closest to you. With Venus turning retrograde in the same sector, you might reconsider recent moves, relationships, and events as you get in touch with what you need and want, particularly from family and home life. Venus will remain retrograde until September 3rd, and until then, you'll look at work, health, home, and family matters in new ways, perhaps critically at times. There may be some comfort issues to deal with in your daily life. On a psychological level, too, you could experience some lack of support from others during this cycle. The trick is to learn how to more confidently rely on yourself during leaner times. You might be a little more withdrawn and indecisive during this cycle. Aim to take things one day at a time. In truth, workarounds to discontent can lead to massive improvements. Personal revelations or memories can have the effect of nudging you along a positive path. Today's Gemini horoscope. The sun's move into your solar third house today begins a cycle typically good for branching out a little more, communicating, and making connections, dear Gemini. You're likely to be running more errands than usual, moving about physically and mentally, and communicating with people more frequently. However, Venus turns retrograde in the same sector, making today and tomorrow slightly confusing. This cycle is ultimately good for getting in closer touch with your desires, needs, and values. However, relations can be on the tricky side at times. During this 6-week-long retrograde cycle, social graces may not be up to par, and it's important to avoid taking social faux pas too seriously. You may be thinking about, analyzing, or talking about old relationships and matters, perhaps feeling a little stuck in the past. In fact, you can learn a lot about what you want, who you love, and what you value during this retrograde, but important, big decisions should probably wait until later. There can be times when it's wiser to keep your own counsel. You might be redefining what you want and need from your connections and studies. You might recognize a line of study, personal interest, or another calling that's a better fit for you. Until then, routines can feel overwhelming, while errors need correcting, and tasks can weigh on you, perhaps losing some of the pleasure factor. Today's Cancer horoscope. The sun moves into your solar second house today, dear Cancer. Money and possessions can assume more importance in your life in the coming weeks, and so can matters of comfort, sensual enjoyment, and activities that remind you of the simple pleasures in life. However, Venus turns retrograde in the same sector, and during its 6-week cycle, you'll do well to review the past in order to better understand your needs and values. You look at matters differently, especially concerning finances, possessions, comfort issues, and social relationships. It's probably better to avoid making important, life-changing decisions until you've digested everything. You might be learning to live leaner, collecting financial information, and rebudgeting. It's a period for attending to unfinished matters with money or finances and issues surrounding whether others treat you as worthy and valuable. You might question your comfort levels or your income in the weeks ahead. While you could make some nice finds with used items, it may not be an ideal time to buy new big-ticket items. Today's Leo horoscope. The sun moves into your sign today, dear Leo, but Venus turns retrograde in it, and things can be complicated at times. There is a lot of attention on you now you are in the spotlight, not necessarily for what you do or what you have accomplished, but for who you are. You are projecting more strength, and people take notice. Venus is retrograde in Leo until September 3rd, and it can be a period of some introspection or re-examination of what and who you value. Today and the next 2 days are days of shifting, which can mean some confusion about these things until you get into the swing of things. As such, it's probably better to delay important decisions. The 6-week cycle itself turns love and financial matters around for review. While you may not always feel confident and certain about your feelings, it's an excellent period for considering how your approach to attracting what you want has served you in the past. This cycle brings up the need to look back before moving forward, perhaps to times when your image did more for you than it may be doing now. Watch for coming across as too distant or superficial, but taking extra time to figure out what you want is natural now, and anyone foolish enough to pressure you will not get far. Today's Virgo horoscope. More time set aside for rest, introspection, healing, and meditation may be necessary with the Sun's transit of your privacy sector until August 23rd, dear Virgo. Venus turns retrograde in the same area of your solar chart today, and you're more naturally inclined to pull back a little from excessively demanding or competitive situations. During this 6-week retrograde cycle, your love life or financial status could be complicated or feel fateful. It's a strong period for getting in touch with your needs, however, or for better understanding a past relationship. You could have a change of heart as you look at matters differently. It's probably best to keep many of your projects and even your affections on the down low for now. Dealing with past relationships, love triangles, or sacrifices made for someone can figure strongly in your life now and in the coming weeks. Some secrets or new information prompt you to rethink current plans. There can be times when it will be tempting to bury your feelings so that you can concentrate on other areas of life. However, being brave and facing your feelings will serve you well. Today's Libra horoscope. Your need to be with others or to feel part of a community or network strengthens with the Sun's move into your friendship sector today, dear Libra. However, Venus turns retrograde in the same RA of your solar chart, and it's complicated. Because Venus is your ruler, you can feel torn between wanting company and needing time to sort things through. Take it slow with decisions during these shift days as you accustom yourself to the strong energy for review and examination, as you have a lot to learn about your needs and wants over the coming weeks. Romantic and social matters can be more complex while Venus is retrograde until September 3rd. Friendships can enter tricky territory or problems, and possibly people from the past resurface. Distance between you and someone important to you can weigh on you. Someone may seem on the fence or hard to reach. You might instead connect with a long-lost friend or gain valuable insight into a relationship. You might be doing a lot of reminiscing or feeling stuck on a social level. It can make sense to pull back a little to gain perspective, either with your connections or projects. It's best to take your time and avoid trying to rush matters. Let things flow and observe how things unfold. Today's Scorpio horoscope. With the Sun's move into your solar 10th house, your focus turns to professional matters, ambitions, material or social success, and your reputation, dear Scorpio. However, Venus turns retrograde in the same sector, complicating matters somewhat. It's a fine time for reacquainting yourself with your needs, wants, and desires, but the shift can be disorienting, and the 6-week cycle can have its tricky moments. It turns your attention to the past and some of your unacknowledged cravings. Partnership, reputation, and career matters can be areas that require a second look. Don't waste your time trying to come to a decision about something that's not yet ready to be resolved. Consider that your current goals may require more time than expected to achieve. For best results, aim to be patient and discover ways to improve the ventures or projects you already have in place rather than taking on something brand new. Your career or responsibilities may temporarily lose some of their pleasure factor, and there could be complicated relationships on the work front, or you may be waiting for a decision or plan to unfold. When you're busy doing, you may not always process what's going on inside, but this retrograde cycle helps you get in touch with what you genuinely love. It's a process, but it's ultimately gratifying. Today's Sagittarius horoscope. With the Sun's move into your solar 9th house for a month's stay, dear Sagittarius, there is a stronger focus on exploring, enjoying, and experiencing life. You are a little happier, more confident, and a touch braver as well. However, Venus turns retrograde in the same sector, complicating some matters. It's a good period for getting to the heart of a relationship matter and, even more importantly, what you truly value and need for yourself. While some of your plans may require redoing or rethinking, you'll have plenty of opportunities to see things differently, which can work to your advantage in the long run. This can also be a time when you're processing recent events and catching up with your feelings, particularly about friends, studies, and your connection with your spirit for adventure. There can be delays and changes of heart, or you might question the pleasure factor of current interests and activities. As you discover where your heart lies, there can be some unrest until you see the light. Today's Capricorn horoscope. Today, the sun begins shining its light on some of the things that are typically hidden from view, dear Capricorn. In the weeks ahead, you will learn a lot about your inner motivations and the world around you. You are less concerned with being heard and understood than you are interested in understanding the workings of people and situations around you at a deeper level. Venus turns retrograde in the same sector of your solar chart, making it a crucial time for exploring some of your fears or negative attitudes. It will also be a time for reviewing financial matters, particularly those shared with a partner, and money or resources that come in as a form of support. Your attention can turn to the past as you do some catching up with your feelings about your relationships, attachments, hobbies, and pet projects. While Venus is retrograde until September 3rd, review, revise, and redo if necessary. Most importantly, as you come at these matters from a different angle, get in touch with what you truly value and enjoy. Try to leave important deal signing for a later date. Today's Aquarius horoscope. The sun now pulls your attention to close relationships, dear Aquarius, and the recent strong focus on work and routine lifts. Even though these are still important things to you, they are no longer on the front burner. Adjusting yourself to social situations, others' agendas, and your personal environment is a bigger concern. Self-expression through your relationships is essential now. Venus turns retrograde in the same area of your solar chart, however, and it's time to review the past. This 6-week cycle is about playing catch-up with your feelings, needs, wants, and values. It's not a time for making strong, definite decisions, but for considering problems from different angles and perspectives. This Venus retrograde cycle lasts until September 3rd, and reassessing relationship needs can figure strongly. Life has a way of showing you where things are losing their appeal or no longer supporting you. You can feel undecided, in limbo, or unsatisfied. However, this is not to torture you but to prompt a re-examination that ideally leads to improvements. Use this period to reevaluate what you want in love and your relationship needs instead of forging ahead into unknown territory. Today's Pisces horoscope. The sun moves into your solar 6th house today, dear Pisces, and you can experience renewed energy and motivation for work and routines. However, Venus turns retrograde in the same area of your solar chart, and it's an important time for greater self-awareness, improvement of self-care and health programs, and dealing with detail work. Retrograde Venus is a 6-week cycle in which you get in better touch with your feelings, sensibilities, tastes, and values. You get a chance to catch up with matters you've overlooked, brushed aside, or simply were too busy to deal with. You may be looking at relationships, your work, or your health and daily routines in a different light. Questions of whether you are enjoying yourself enough can be called up now. There can be a focus on healing and processing regarding health. People can generally be a little standoffish, and stepping back is better than attempting to push or prod. There can be some slowdowns in projects or waiting games revolving around routines, your job, or chores, and it's best to aim to be patient. As we wrap up, I'm Jeannie, thanking you for tuning in to Horoscope Forecasts 369. Remember, these are guides, but your will shapes your destiny. Like, share, subscribe for more astro insights, and let the stars guide you until we meet again. Take care.